Mia would actually leave work at 5 p.m. to catch a flight to Fort Lauderdale just to go see her family. She would walk into her room to get her suitcase, but then she never came back out.
In it, new crime scene photos including surveillance images of the last time Mia was likely seen alive walking home at the Arden Villas apartments.
A native was kidnapped and killed by a maintenance worker at her Orlando apartment complex.
And this is part of that 135-page investigative report released by the Orange County Sheriff's Office. In it, we learn more about the weeks leading up to Marcano's death and the obsessive nature of the suspect involving her leading up to her death.
We've all been rejected before. Maybe it was a girl that you've met online. Maybe it was a girl that you were friends with in school. Maybe it was one of even your parents' friends, who knows? But eventually, this rejection, we all got over it. But in this story today, this person took it to the extreme. Today's story is about a lady named Mia Marcano, who was just 20 years old. And this story gets really odd because how the buildup happens was really crazy. And eventually, when she got found, it was a really, really sad experience for her family. Mia Marcano was born April 26, 2002 in Pembroke Pines, Florida. She grew up to her mother known as Yema Scabrel and her dad Marlon Marcano, also known as DJ Eternal Vibes. Her parents would eventually get divorced and her dad would actually remarry a woman that she considered her second mom. Her mom would actually move to Virgin Islands. Growing up, she was always an ambitious woman. She always knew what she wanted and went straight for that goal. She went to a school known as Charles Flanagan High School, graduated in 2020, and once she graduated that same year, she instantly applied for college. She enrolled in a college known as Valencia College in Orlando, Florida. In college, she was studying for an art degree, but eventually wanted to go for sports med. While studying, she figured she might as well get a job in that area because, she's gonna need money. So she eventually got a job at a leasing office known as Aiden Via, which was a student housing complex that was close to the University of Central Florida. She also got an apartment in that area to make it way easier for her. But while being at this new housing complex, she would consistently get harassed by this maintenance guy. This man would always hit on her. He hit on her at least 7 times while she was there, and she denied him every single time. It got so bad that she actually had to tell her family about it. On September 24, 2021, Mia would actually leave work at 5 p.m. to catch a flight to Fort Lauderdale just to go see her family. She would walk into her room to get her suitcase, but then she never came back out. Okay, so around this time, her family was like, okay, she's supposed to be coming now. So they're calling her, no response. She's not answering their text message, their phone calls, none of that. So they're thinking to themselves, maybe she's just getting ready for the flight. Maybe she's taking a shower. Maybe she's like on her way. Her phone data isn't working. Maybe her phone died. They didn't know, but they didn't think anything bad was going on with her. So her family's now at the airport waiting for her flight to land. And once her flight landed, they saw that she wasn't there. Her family started to get really suspicious as to what's going on with Mia. They're calling her, no response. Her flight came, she wasn't there. So they called the police to just get a wellness check on her to see what she's up to or where she even is. The police would eventually get to her apartment, knock on her door, and turns out no one answered. So the police continuously knocked, no one was answering. So one of the roommates would actually see the police and just let them in. Once the cop was inside, they realized that her bedroom door was actually blocked by a dresser. So it looked like she was actually trying to prevent someone from getting in. And while they're also in there, they saw that the window was opened and tampered with and the bed had red stains on it. So the deputy that's there actually asked the roommate if anyone would possibly hurt Mia. And the roommate replied, this maintenance guy was consistently harassing her. His name would actually be Armando Calbeo. The roommate was actually telling the police how much this man harassed her. A couple of days would go by and the family still heard nothing from Mia. They haven't even announced that she's missing yet. So they're still asking the police like, yo, can you send help? Can you see if you can get a search team to look for my daughter? The police would eventually tell them that yeah, they'll do it, but they would never actually do it. So after that, the family would decide to take matters into their own hands and would actually fly out to Orlando. They got to Orlando, they actually asked the police for access to her apartment complex, but they said because of the lack of evidence, they couldn't really just give her access like that. But while the family was actually at Mia's apartment complex, Armando would actually come to her complex also. Around this time, they actually became very sus because they didn't announce that Mia was missing, but he was constantly asking them like, what happened to Mia, where is she? So they're like, how do you know that she's gone? Like, we haven't even said anything about it. And then he would actually say a friend of hers named Titi would tell him. Their parents even became more sus because no one in that Orlando area knew about Titi, which was her longtime friend.
No one here knows Tati. All her other friends showed up. Her closest friends that live in the complex were all here with us early on. No one knows Tati. Only you.
What's even crazier is because Mia's family actually knew that this guy was completely obsessed with her and would constantly harass her every time she tries to go out. So that actually made them a little bit more sus of what he was trying to do. They even told him that they knew that he said that he would give his whole life savings just to be with her.
Right now you have sent obsessive texts to Mia. We have all seen the text. You talked about giving her your life savings. You cash out her money and you claim that you weren't in touch.
Who told her gave her life
text.
savings?
And they're telling her this in front of the police, and the police are like, we can't do anything, we still have no evidence. So he was just let go free.
And didn't show up. Officer, can I ask you a question?
Mia's family is still sus, so they actually would eventually follow him to his complex. And while they were in his complex, they saw something that changed their perspective on the case.
He has gloves.
He has gloves.
He has gloves
He has
in
gloves.
his hands.
He has gloves.
Gloves and what else?
The
Oh my
blanket.
god, that is my blanket.
Oh my God.
Her family is now like really upset and mad and like really frustrated. They actually called the police again. The police would arrive to his house and the police couldn't do anything. They didn't have a search warrant. They couldn't just go in and search his things. So now the family is like really mad. But actually Armando would just say, okay, fine, you guys could just search my house. In which they actually found nothing. Later that week, Armando would actually just vanish. Where is Mia? Now she's actually entered in as a missing persons. Now that Armando has randomly vanished, there would actually be an arrest warrant put on him. And now police have actually fully became involved and they started to investigate. What the investigators found is that a key fob from a maintenance person actually opened Mia's apartment at 2 p.m., which was 3 hours before she was actually supposed to come home. The key fob actually opened her apartment complex again at 4:30, and then at 5:06, Mia would actually come home. An hour later, Armando's car was actually seen leaving the apartment complex, and this is where they became suspicious that he was actually trying to kidnap her. The police and investigators started checking his socials, and this is where Mia's family actually started to spread awareness, pictures everywhere, and making awareness that their daughter is gone. On the morning of Monday, September 27th, the police would actually get a call that a man's body was hanging inside a garage in an apartment complex. They found out that this body was actually Armando. This got Mia's parents even more upset because he was the only person who knew where Mia was. And the fact that he's now dead got them really upset because where is Mia? He was the only person that knew and now he's dead. So they're really mad that he took the easy way out. This case actually would hit national level, and it got so big that her parents would actually request the FBI to investigate the situation. The case was so big that a congressman would actually see the case and actually request the FBI to come help them, in which the FBI actually would come and investigate the situation. So now that the FBI is actually in this investigation, they would completely retrace Armando and Mia's footsteps. They found that Armando actually visited a place called Timber Scan. They knew this place and it was filled with crime, all types of really illegal activities. And because of all this illegal activities, this place would actually become a ghost town. But they actually found out that Armando lived there for a couple of years, so he knew this place from the in and outs. So around this time, there's actually a huge search team. Boats, dogs, helicopters, many people were actually looking for Mia. They even had little sanctions where people would come in and tell them any little details they knew, anything about the case they would take. So the police search team would actually scout this area that Armando grew up in, and once they went into the woods, they actually found her dead body. In the woods, her body was actually so decomposed that when they tried to do the autopsy, they couldn't really tell how she died. But the one thing they did know is that Her hands were duct taped together, her legs were duct taped, and her mouth was also duct taped shut. This news would absolutely crush the family. They would actually blame the apartment complex for this incident. They were saying that they should have did a background search on Armando. They should have really looked into what he was doing and actually take action. There was even said to be another incident with Armando where he would ask this girl to go out on a date, but then she actually wasn't rejecting him, but she didn't instantly want to go out with him because she didn't know him. So he was actually requesting her to come out and go on a date with him immediately, but she was like, no, I don't really know you like this. I'm not gonna go on a date with you. This would actually get Armando mad, and he would throw a weight dumbbell in through the window. And there was actually another incident with Armando where he would actually build an explosive and try to blow up. I don't even know what he was blowing up, but they said he built an explosive. Like, nigga, this man is weird, bro. And now her family wasn't the only one blaming the apartment complex. Many people in that area and in their family was also blaming the apartment complex. They were saying that they should have did a better background search on him. And the apartment complex would actually say they did do a good background search on him. It's just that apparently there are two people with the same names and they looked at the wrong one. That's what they were saying. I don't know what that even means, but that's crazy. I don't know how the same person can have the same name, the same birthday, but apparently that's their case, that it was the wrong person's information they were looking at. So, and that's the end of the case. It was really sad. So if you guys really like this video, please like the video. That's helped it get pushed. And of course, subscribe. If you watch for this long, might as well just subscribe. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.